The Dragon Lord Legacy, Chapter 3, Part 2. Elienta immediately took wing as she left the cave, expanding her large wings and using the warm desert winds to rise high. The sun was all but below the horizon now, and the stars began to twinkle in the night. The moon held its glow that illuminated the area, giving it a pleasant view. Dragons roamed around, not active as during the day, but softly mingling and enjoying the warmth from the rivers of lava or nightly activities. Mates and friends took flights around, the night having little effect to their visions. From the sky, Elienta enjoyed the soft cooling winds that came. Not too cold that it would affect her, but a nice lukewarm that made gliding a breeze. She allowed her thoughts to wander as she tried to find a solution for her Spike, Ember, and her mate. To let Spike remember his past was for him to remember everything about how he grew up with the ponies. He would remember why he came to the Dragonlands to help Ember and become her consort. He would remember the trials, he would remember the pain, the agony that he suffered, not just to himself, but to Ember and Cynthia. But most likely, he would remember his past before he even hatched, a time where his awareness outside the egg was hazy. She was only able to briefly experience it since he himself was unaware of the vague memory. His own mother had either abandoned him or something happened to her and she left him. But why? Who was she, and how did it happen that Spike's egg got left with ponies? It just doesn't make any sense. According to Ember, she had asked the Princess of Equestria, one of them that is on Spike's origin, and according to her, his own memories and part of the history that she gathered, he was hatched by the magic of his caretaker's magic during some sort of test, and with it, she managed to hatch his egg and after took care of him. His older memories were vague at best, but she did see that for a period of his life, he was taken care of by the elder Princess of Equestria, the ruler of the sun. He saw her as his mother and caretaker as his sister. She inwardly growled at that, and she stopped in mid-flight, using her wings to stop her speed until she hovered into the air. Why did she dislike that? Why did she hate the idea of ponies raising Spike? What was the animosity towards them when they were the reason that he is the best dragon out of thousands? Jealousy? She didn't get to raise him? Anger? Him having not grown up properly but still managed to be a great dragon? Or was it the fact that he was still the enigma of all of them? That his past is shrouded to even the ponies? That he himself has gone through numerous of tragic yet amazing adventures? He became a saint amongst the creatures different from him. What values he gained by being raised by non-dragons? He was raised by ponies. That was the fact that he was who he is. He should remember the values of creatures that had been a part of his history. She just gave a heavy sigh, hating herself for doubting the ponies, but she also knew that they were also full of flaws, just like dragons. She dared to hope that they would be lenient towards the incident and were prone to holding a grudge. She took a gentle glide and made her way to the Dragon Lord's cave. If anything, the first time Ember encountered Spike, she had expected him to be the one that left her 8 months ago. Earlier, she just met a dragon who was not himself. It was up to her and Ember to help him remember who he was and what he became the dragon that he is now. Approaching the large cave, she moved to the area where large dragons could only enter with their heads, like Torch. However, she was smaller than him, so she could fully fit her body, albeit in tight conditions.
"Lord Ember?"
she called from within the cave.
"May I enter? It is I, Elienta."
"You may," came an immediate response. The larger dragoness shimmied her way in, though trying not to fully enter, her body slimmed its way into the entrance, and she saw the Dragon Lord, along with her horde near her. Ember was looking up at her in confusion, mixing on her face, but concern also there, filling her voice.
Is everything alright? How is he?"
The larger dragoness shook her head in denial.
"No better than before. In fact, we may have slipped,"
she said angrily.
"We accidentally revealed to him that we're not responsible for his upbringing nor whom was his sire or dam. This upset him and he's become frantic and I had to put him to sleep."
Ember's eyes went wide with a wave of emotions cascading over her features. Elienta nodded but continued on.
I know. It's difficult right now with all of this, but for his sake, I think that we should try to get him to remember his past. All of it. Ponies, the trials, us, and you."
She lowered her head to the Dragon Lord.
"You are the key that may give him his memories back. When you gave him the Kindle, he seemed to remember you more specifically, a hint of something before. That is why I believe that we are to gain back the Spike that you have lost, that we are slowly easing his mind with his past."
Ember acknowledged the advisor's words, knowing that she was just as intelligent, but fear and concern clouded her judgment.
But he doesn't remember me at all. What good would that help if he can't fully remember his own consort? Would I also have to remind him of how he went and suffered from the trials? Or how he separated himself from me when he...
She didn't even need to finish, for the memory was too painful, literally and mentally. Elianza nodded in understanding.
I'm aware that some are unpleasant parts, but we must focus on the positive aspects, and it would benefit him. The negative should come after. Before anything, we should target yours and his relationship prior to this. Before the trials, your friendship and the Gauntlet of Fire, and so on. After that, we could slowly remind him of the family that he had before coming here. Should we not just contact Twilight and the others to come and aid? Maybe this is the best if we wish to avoid more turmoil than as is,
interrupted Elianza.
As is, not only have we caused him to suffer from the trials, but we have indirectly erased his mind and filled it with the only knowledge he knows, and that is us. For 8 months, we have spoke to him in his sleep about the history of dragons, culture, names, anatomy, and so on. All of that is currently in his head, including of how we are his mothers and how we care for him and who we are and why we love him.
A sorrow sigh left her.
I wish we would have known about this sooner, but it wouldn't help any of us if we were to explain to the equestrians that Spike is not who he is because of our faults. We should atone for our mistakes, Elianza,
Ember said a bit firmly. She swallowed any sadness that she had and held strong against the advisor.
Whatever we say or do, we have to atone, even if it means that they want to get us into a conflict.
She dared not deny the wise words from Ember, but she would also not let her foolishly push it. With her own firmness, she gave a serious stare at her.
And how many dragons outside of yours would ever go into conflict for a single dragon? How many dragons would want to go for a war for the sake of one? Bleed or die, even at that word of their dragon lord?
Ember gaped at the advisor, unable to believe at what she had just heard from her. Elianza pushed on, still trying to dissuade Ember.
I dare not call you stupid for saying that we should stand by our mistakes and face the wrath of the equestrians, but I am saying be aware that they are quick to judge and should not be taken lightly. To return Spike as a broken dragon to them would no doubt believe that we are nothing but monsters and mindless beasts, only for them to gain the reason to go to war with us.
She withdrew her head away from Ember.
It's needless conflict, Lord Ember. If you truly want to secure and establish a proper relationship with them, let us first deal with one of their own and bring him back to their graces whole.
Ember didn't speak, but the emotions that ran across her face spoke volumes, and it was not how she wanted her night to end. She hated Elianza for even trying to dissuade her from trying to seek aid from Twilight, let alone escape punishment. Elianza was not an advisor for nothing. She was meant to be quick with her tongue, intelligent in conversations, and mindful of any future situations. Ember saw her as the greatest teacher in all of the Dragonlands, and is the reason why she was smarter than most dragons. Knowledge was power, and the more that you had, the more you had advantage on the weaker minds. What made Elianza even smarter than many dragons out there in the world combined, she had the abilities that were rare on dragons. Her abilities to read the minds of others, see into their history, and if she truly had full control, be able to control their minds, making her a dangerous dragoness. She could be kind but manipulative, supporting but controlling, intelligent but cold. Outside of the view of her mate and the few that she trusts, she is steady, silent manipulator with goals hidden to those around her. It's her thinking and intelligence that allowed her to be an advisor without her being put on the trials. Ember saw no other solution that would have dragons hate her or think of her as an unfit ruler if she were to allow turmoil with the equestrians. As it stands now, her best option was to have Spike regain his memories and come back to his former self before Twilight would ask for the next update or demand that they finally be allowed to see him. As it stands now, Ember was on thin ice. With a reluctant nod, Ember responded.
We will help him. Tomorrow we will try and recover his memories, though I pray that it won't be too much for him. As do I, Lord Ember. I care that his sanity remains intact and his heart strong.
A smile tugged at her snout.
He has a bigger heart than any other dragon I have ever seen, and a soul to match Draco's.
Ember smiled at that as well. Draco would praise and cheer for who Spike was, and Whistler would be proud at any love and care that he gave to others. She no doubt that Spike would be sung or spoken of in stories for many years to come.
I think so too.
She paused and lowered her head in a small bow.
Thank you for this. I know this isn't how the night was supposed to end, but I believe we needed to establish a ground.
Elianza returned the bow.
As it should be. We want Spike to fully return to himself. You miss your consort, and the Equestrians really miss their family. And what of you and Xynthia?
Elianza paused, trying to think. She rumbled in her throat for a bit before softly responding.
I hope that when he does remember, he won't hate us for being his mothers for the time.
She then quickly added.
Speaking of, your mother has awakened, had she not?
Ember nodded with a bit of a gleeful tone, leaving her.
Oh yeah, she woke up about a week ago but has been aware for the last couple of months. She should be out and about soon.
Elianza bristled with joy for the young dragoness. Feelings of joy and love for her mother's return. She hoped that she would experience that when Spike regained his memories.
Well, I'm glad that she has, Ember. May she return to good health.
She bowed her head and was about to leave before quickly speaking up again.
Oh, please, tell Saphira that I said hello and we should catch up like old times.
And with that, she left the cave.